we started out actually trying to build a consumer product to help consumers build better budgets. We found that consumers didn't really want it. We tried for a while. We built 6 different versions of budgeting and expense management and kind of like analyze your spend types of applications. And they didn't really ever get any traction. And then one day, a friend of ours who was working on a different fintech company, he was one of the early engineers at Venmo, came to us and said, "Hey, your consumer products are not so good, but I'd really like to license the backend that you've built, the way that you've integrated with banks in order to get the data into your app." We'd always had this idea that we loved the infrastructure side, but we didn't know that anyone else would pay us money for it. We didn't know that would be a market. And so when we heard this from the first customer, we started to say, all right, well, that could be interesting. We could go build something there. We started talking to more and more people. It took a long time. We said no at first, but eventually we decided to make the pivot to build the platform. And we pivoted into something that we already knew how to build, that we'd frankly already created, that we already started to validate a little bit of demand on. And it was just a part of the product that we loved the most. In my opinion, the cheat to product market fit is oftentimes the pivot, because a company doesn't generally pivot into something unless it's very clear that it's a good idea. As entrepreneurs, if you read anything on the internet about founding a company, they tell you to focus and stay focused on your one thing. And so making the decision to pivot into something new, it has to be a big decision. Like it has to be something where you're effectively betting the entire company. It was pretty easy to find product market fit in that very early stage. The bigger challenge for Plaid was that the market didn't really exist. And so we knew we had these 5 or 7 companies that wanted to build something, but the real challenge for us was really market development. That was the reason that almost every VC passed on investing in Plaid in the early stages, is that they said, you've built an interesting product, it could be useful for some customers, but the market's not very big. And so when we think about product market fit, the challenge for us wasn't finding a product that people would buy. It was finding a market that was large enough to justify the investment that we needed to make over the coming years. We believed that we had to convince people to build products in this market, and that was our job, more so than even building the platform itself. We knew that the platform was good. We knew that our product was something that people would want if we could only convince people to go create financial technology startups. Keep in mind, this was in 2012, before fintech even had a name. And so we would do all of these crazy things to try to convince people that they would want to build products in financial technology. So when we first ever got an office, we started doing these things once a month called Plaid Outs. It was a terrible name for an event. It was actually a Plaid In, where we would invite everyone that we knew that might possibly want to start a fintech company to come to our office and have beers. And we would do this like once a month on a Friday. And it eventually started to create this community where people were talking to us or talking to each other. That then kind of inspired, we think, many people to actually go and build some products on top of Plaid. We started the company in 2012. We launched the product to the public for the first time in something like 2014. And in that intervening period, we built the product in beta. We were focused on getting, first 1 bank live, then 2 banks live. I think when we launched to the publics, we had something like 15 banks live. And that's of 12,000 total banks in the US, bank-like things in the US. It was a really hard foundational first year, 2-3 years almost, just to kind of build out the product, get it actually into the market, get a first few customers on it, and start to get them scaling. When we did finally launch to the public, we'd done so much market cultivation, market development, that we actually had a wait list. We had a list of customers that wanted to use the product, and we had to bring them on kind of little by little. In 2016, 2017, that was when we knew we had very strong product market fit. That was mostly because we just saw the really rapid growth of many of our customers. So I believe this is one of the big years for like Robinhood and Coinbase. And when you started to see this takeoff, we saw it in our numbers, and we were able to say, all right, well, this is a product in a company that's going to be really big. But keep in mind, 2016, it was 4.5 years since we started the company. Our growth was driven by 2 factors. One was the early customers that we had just doing fantastically well. So I mentioned that Venmo was an early customer. They did fantastically well. They continue to do fantastically well, and that's really lovely for us. One of the benefits of being a platform company is that you're able to install really early with a customer and then grow over time, and that scale is really, really lovely. The second thing is that we saw more and more people wanting to build fintech products. It's hard to say which drove which. So the success of Venmo certainly inspired a lot of other people to go create their version of Venmo or their version of a fintech product. One of the best things that we did is we actually eventually branded the user sign-up flow, that portion of the user sign-up flow that we did within the Venmo app and within our other apps. And that minor branding actually drove a lot of demand for our product because people would see it. They would say, hey, this is a new financial services experience. I should call Plaid because Plaid helped build this one. And so we had this nice cycle of our customers doing well, drove demand back to us, so on and so forth over time. For our early customers, we didn't consider it to be a successful customer unless the customer was on a texting relationship with us. When I would onboard a customer, I would say, hey, what's your number? Can I text you and get feedback on this? And then even if I didn't have huge questions for those people, I would find a way to reach out to them, once a week, once every 2 weeks, just so that they would be communicating with us very regularly. We wanted to create a very tight relationship between ourselves and our early customers that would then, we thought, inspire them to give us both great product feedback, but also to refer us to others. Or if we needed to convince a new potential customer, we could text one of the existing customers and say, hey, would you give this person a call and tell them what you think of working with us? And so this kind of like personal closeness with our customers worked really well. I actually don't think that getting to product market fit is all that hard. I think it's very hard to get to product market fit in the right market. The process of getting to product market fit is fairly straightforward. You talk to your customers or your potential customers, you ask them what they want, you build what they said they want, you listen to them, see if the thing that you built actually works for them. If it doesn't, you iterate on it, and then you continue going. I think the hardest thing is identifying a market that will grow long-term in the right way. The reality is every customer has a unique need and you have to follow that need. And the best thing that you can do is sit with them, listen to them, ask good questions, try to understand their intentions, not just the things that they say. The customers will often ask for features, but the features aren't usually what they want. Usually what they want are a solution to their underlying problem. And so as an entrepreneur, it's your job to ask enough questions, get close enough with them to start to have an intuition about what the underlying problem is, and then go solve that challenge, not the thing that they ask for necessarily. There are hundreds of consumer budgeting apps out there that are built on Plaid, and they're built far better than we could have ever created. These are people that understand consumer psychology. They understand how to help consumers think about making smart decisions. All we did was say, hey, you spent too much on coffee, stop buying coffee. I am so proud of the entrepreneurs that have built great products on Plaid and saved us from the terrible product that we built early on.